Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Big Hitters FPL podcast. Today, we've got a Game Week 35 preview podcast. Make sure you check out our free hit guide also on YouTube. But yeah, today we'll be previewing double Game Week 35 with 14 fixtures, 8 teams doubling. Is that right? It's 8? That can't be right. Yeah, I think it is right. Anyway, 8 teams doubling. But before that, make sure you subscribe and like this video on YouTube. Trying to get to 200 subscribers now. Make sure you also like and follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Big Hitters FPL. And make sure you join the Fantasy Premier League. And the code to join that is 01TOQK. Right, so before we get into Game Week 35, should we even dare take a look at how Game Week 34 went? I mean, yours was slightly better than mine, but
yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with your team. It was a bit of a horror show though, but yeah, this is your.
Yeah, I mean, the United fixture didn't help. Let's just say that. I think Son saved me this week. Obviously, Rudiger and Aspilicueta both not playing didn't help at all. Really poor performance from my team, really. Iheanacho only an assist. You'd expect a bit more given his recent form. And obviously Kane blank, which is very annoying. Almost all the FPL world captained him. Yeah, and Vardy blank again. So a horror show, and I don't want to really talk about it anymore because it's just my eyes hurt seeing it.
I think that bench is a bit wrong, isn't it? But
yeah, sorry, the bench is not updated. Sorry.
Your bench was pretty good. So you had Sanchez, didn't you, who also got a clean sheet. Smith Rowe, Souček hasn't played yet, and somebody else who I'm not sure.
Shaw was on the bench as well, and so I've got Souček, Lingard, and Cody, who are yet to play.
Okay. Yeah, it's worth saying at the time of recording, it's Monday evening, so we've still got the West Brom Wolves fixture and the West Ham Burnley fixture left. If in that match, I don't know, Lingard scores 7 goals and Cody scores 7 goals, Ludo will probably be feeling a bit happier about his team, but you never know. And then my team, even worse. I really can't bear to look at this. 15 points with just Lingard left. I can't actually believe how awful it's been. I love how you weren't very happy about Iheanacho only getting an assist. Iheanacho's assist was the only return in my whole team. Everyone else blanked. Most of my team getting 0 because they didn't even play. I think this team kind of speaks for itself. No points on my bench either. 15 points. That is, my God, that is bad. So, swiftly moving on, let's talk about something which kind of ruined our fantasy week, but also kind of shook the world a bit, which was, of course, the protests that took place yesterday, or probably not yesterday when you're watching this, but yesterday for us. Of course, forcing the Liverpool United game into postponement. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think the fans have a right? Think they're right to be protesting?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I do agree that the fans have got a right to protest. Obviously, the Glazers have been really just ruined the club. They're in debt. They signed up to the European Super League, which is, I can understand the fans' frustration, but I just think entering the pitch of Old Trafford is a bit extreme. I mean, needless to say that the security, I'm not sure what the security were doing there. I mean, they were probably reading their newspapers or something. I mean, this is one of the biggest stadiums in football, and one of the biggest games in football is about to commence, and suddenly hundreds of fans just start running onto the pitch. That's a bit worrying from my point of view. Yeah, I mean, it destroyed most of our fantasy week, so that's a bit disappointing. Some big players I was relying on: Salah, Trent, Shaw, and they just couldn't play. So very disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty damaging from an FPL point of view, but also, yeah, I think technically what the fans did yesterday kind of did make a point. It shook the world, and that kind of, in a way, got across the message. And I think when protests happen, it's easy for your stereotypical American owners to just ignore it. But when a huge match like this gets cancelled, I think the Glazers are going to have to stand up and take notice. So I think in that respect it worked, but I mean, there's never really an excuse for violent protests like it probably was yesterday. Breaking into Old Trafford, uh, hurting security guards. I know there were security guards hurt. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think yesterday was a bit too far from United fans. But going back to in terms of an FPL perspective, of course, Manchester United do have another home game coming up against Leicester in 2 weeks. Any doubts about that, or is that gonna happen?
I think, as I said in the free hit guide, I think the security will have learned from their mistakes, and I think the Glazers by that time will have at least stated a message, because I mean they've got to. I mean, I can understand the fans' frustration, and this just can't continue. Their ownership. I mean, it's quite hard putting this into perspective from Chelsea and Arsenal fans, because obviously we care about football, but not really about our rivals, do we? So yeah, it's a difficult topic to talk about. But as I said, I don't think there'll be postponements or any other you know disruptions.
Even though it probably will happen, does it maybe put you off captaining Bruno Fernandes? And you don't have Bruno Fernandes, do you? But I'm certainly thinking about captaining Bruno Fernandes. I'm not sure if that maybe puts me off the idea that he might not play that second game.
Yeah, I mean there might be a sense of anger amongst the Man United squad, and sometimes anger fuels a good result. So yeah, we don't know really what to expect after this event. So yeah.
Yeah, it's fair enough. Right. Next thing to talk about is, of course, a double game week coming up next week, game week 35, followed by a blank game week in 36. So there are obviously 4 teams that are doubling in 35 and then also playing in 36. So that's Aston Villa, Everton, Southampton, and Crystal Palace. And then there's the 4 quite big teams actually who double in 35 and then blank straight away in 36. And they are Arsenal, Manchester United, Leicester, and Chelsea. So do you think because of that, do you think we should maybe focus on the 4 teams that double and then play? Or is it maybe getting the players that double this week and then maybe transferring them out straight away?
Yeah,
How do you think we should approach it?
I think a bit of a balance does it for me. Obviously, not looking at the double game week players too much, and looking at I mean, it's a bit like chess, isn't it? You make a move, and you've got to think about the next move and what your opponent will do to you. Because if you're going to transfer in players that will then blank, eventually. Obviously, there's a positive, but then there's always a negative. So I usually go for a balance, especially if you don't have your free hits. I usually tend to manage my transfers, and yeah.
Yeah. Then it is hard because, certainly from Leicester and Manchester United, you've got players like Bruno Fernandes, like Iheanacho, who you won't be in a rush to sell really, and then you end up maybe with a problem, maybe only being able to field 10 players in game week 36. Yeah, bit of a problem there. What I have noticed actually is the 4 teams that double and then still play actually do have quite good fixtures. Anyway, I think we can bring up the fixtures until the end of the season now, thanks to legend Ben Crellin. So Villa, they've got the double and then a good fixture. Crystal Palace got their double and then Villa. Everton have got their double and then a really good fixture, Sheffield United. And Southampton have got their double and a really good fixture, Fulham. So it wouldn't be the worst idea to get players from these 4 teams.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wouldn't be the worst idea. But then obviously you've got the bigger teams like Chelsea, Leicester, and United,
I see you're
who,
missing out one there, but I'll let that go.
which it's I wouldn't necessarily sell, but I'd bring in. Well, I would bring them in for the double game week, but then they blank, so it's a very difficult decision, and you know this is what makes FPL hard, and it this is what affects a game week rank.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, then next thing to look at is, as usual, we've got a game week 35 watch list for you. 1 defender, 1 attacker, and 1 midfielder, who we're going to keep an eye on for the game week. And in defence, I know Ludo's transferred in this particular player, but a nice Everton differential. It's Seamus Coleman, 2.4%
Yeah,
ownership, cheap, good fixtures. What do you think about
yeah,
him?
yeah. I mean, obviously, Everton aren't known for the best defense record, but at the same time, they're a good, solid team. They've improved a lot. Looked okay both defensively and offensively, so they've got good fixtures until the end of the season. Good differential. Coleman usually gets that occasional assist as well, bonus point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to owning him.
Do you think there's any reason to go him instead of Digne, or is it just money, purely price?
Well, yeah, I mean, I won't because of the money. So yeah, I mean, I probably would have gone for Digne if I had the money.
Mm.
But if you don't have the money, then I'd say go for him because he's not really a rotation risk. Reliable captain, always gives a 7 out of 10 performance. Yeah.
Then the midfielder is Crystal Palace, the only really good Crystal Palace player, who we've talked about a lot in the previous video. It's Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah. Many captaining him. Bit risky,
Hmm.
as we said in our free hit video. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking about bringing him in. If I had the space, I'd think about it. Yeah, so he's got okay fixtures. Obviously, not sure why that Arsenal box is red, but
Yeah, I'd say for a free hit, obviously we included him in our free hit video yesterday. But for a free hit, probably in a general long-term pick, probably not. But still one to keep an eye out for this week. And then lastly, the attacker is the man who surprised us all with a hat-trick against Wolves, Chris Wood. Mm.
yeah. Um, Obviously, he's a player who I think in the last 4 consecutive seasons he's got 10 goals every season, so he's a reliable player. He's got a good Fulham fixture and then a Leeds fixture. So yeah, I'm not thinking about owning him, but if the opportunity comes and he's got good fixtures and he fits into my team nicely, then I might think about it.
Okay, next, we'll take a look at some captaincy picks. Bit of a harder decision this week because you've got obviously the doubles to look at, but then you've also got some decent singles actually. You know, Kane and Salah, as we've got on the screen there, but also Iheanacho and Fernandez who are doubling. Who are you gonna captain this week?
Um, uh, I'm not too sure. It's quite a difficult one, as you said. Originally, I was looking at Kane, but after that blank, really surprising blank, I mean, after Tottenham scored 4, you'd
Yeah.
expect Kane to be up for the goals. So I might go for Iheanacho, to be honest. Yeah. And also, I think I'm not sure how much. If I'm not sure what his first name is. Was it Mason? The Tottenham manager
Ryan
who
Mason.
won. Ryan Mason. I'm not sure if Ryan Mason and Kane fit together because they scored a few goals and I didn't think Kane was amongst them.
Yeah, he hasn't got a goal or an assist under Ryan Mason yet, whereas the likes of Bale and Son shining. So interesting thoughts there. Me, I've got it on Fernandez because I feel like when there's a big double game week like this, you kind of have to attack it. But second, I definitely put the captaincy on Salah, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm still leaning slightly towards Fernandez for this week. But it is actually a harder decision than it looks because there's no real, apart from Fernandez, there's no real, big premium players who are doubling. So it's an interesting one, really. Right then, so should we actually take a look at our teams then? We'll start off with mine. No transfers made yet. I don't think I want to make one either. But this is what the team's looking like. Not too bad. I've got just the 5 doublers. Not the most, but not the least either. I've got Martinez in goal over Leno because I don't think Leno's starting much anymore in the Premier League. Even Martinez, I'm not too confident about him getting a clean sheet in either of those fixtures. So I might sounds silly, but I was thinking about Jordan Pickford. But we'll see if I want to do that on stream on Friday. Then 3 at the back is Phillips, who's back from injury now, Azpilicueta and Castagna. And then midfield is Lingard, Fernandez, captain, Salah and Jota, then Iheanacho, Bamford and Kane. But then the one player who I don't really want to play is Bamford. But if you look at my bench, looking a bit
Yeah.
bare. Unless Cresswell's back from injury, in which case I might play Cresswell instead of Bamford. But apart from that, I'm pretty decently happy with how the team's looking. Not too bad. Still got the option to make a transfer if I want. But yeah, that's that. Next, let's take a look at yours, Ludo.
Yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double game week players. That's always nice. Obviously, on there it says that I'm captaining Kane. Obviously, that's not definite, and there'll probably be plenty of last-minute decisions to make on the stream. But overall, I'm expecting a really solid performance. I'm expecting a big response from my team after that shocking performance. Yeah. So yeah, I think obviously defense looking sound and strong. I think if Rudiger's okay and there's no rotation risks, I think Rudiger might come in for Lingard. That's still not definite.
Really?
But overall, very happy with my team.
So you're thinking about benching Lingard against Everton? Interesting. I'd say Everton's
Yeah, I
probably quite a
mean,
good fixture.
yeah, I mean, you never know. Still plenty of decisions to make, as I said. But yeah.
Okay, then I guess that just about brings the show to an end. We'll be back with another video on Friday, and that will be a Game Week 35 deadline stream. So make sure you tune in for that. As always, we'll be answering all your questions on the live chat and locking in our teams. Hopefully Jake will be back for that one. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video and to our channel, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BigKingsFPL. The league, we won't update you on standings yet because there's still a couple of matches to play that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, it's looking interesting there. First place, quite far clear ahead actually. But we'll wait until Friday to reveal that. But for now, until Friday, goodbye. Bye bye.